Alright, hey YouTube, this is Triple Agent, and I'm going to do a quick video on 7 quick tips on how to get better at Osu. So a lot of people have asked me this, especially when I mentioned that in chats I am sub 5k with only having played 5 months. They're like, how did you improve so fast? And it's not really some like hidden secret. It's if you follow these quick tips, this is everything that I've did. So I don't know what to say after this. But anyway, let's get into the list. Okay, so if you're starting out Osu, you need to get a ton of maps. That's tip number 1. If you don't have over 1,000 maps, you need to get more maps. I would suggest beat map packs. If you have Osu Direct, you go the most played beat maps, download them. Just make sure you have a ton of the best maps that Osu has to offer. There's so many good songs that people have mapped. I currently have 6,500 beat maps, which isn't all that much, but the number 1 way to improve is to have fun and play a lot, and having a lot of different beat maps is a really good way to have fun and find a lot of cool songs. There's also going to be a link in the description of a zip file with about 5,000 maps that I compiled over 2 months back to give to some of my friends so that they were starting out. So if you want to have a ton of good maps, then I suggest you download that from Dropbox. Okay, tip number 2, and this is important. Don't retry. People that retry a lot are too focused on one specific map. They get like a grudge, and they just play the same map over and over and over again, and they aren't looking at the big picture. You will get so much more PP if you focus on a lot of different maps rather than just one. Because the one that you're trying to FC, or trying to retry a ton of times, isn't probably worth as much as you think. And by retrying that a lot of times, you build muscle memory, and then you start playing worse on it than you would before if you had played it for the first time. Osu is all about reading skills, and when you retry a lot, you don't read the map. Plus, not retrying helps build a consistency, and so you can sight read FC stuff, which just saves you time and is more fun anyway. So tip number 2.5, I forgot to mention, if you go into the options, you see this setting, raw input? If you are playing with mouse, please check this circle. I know some people don't, this is probably well known, but if you are playing without this circle click, you are at a huge disadvantage. Just please click this. This used to be a problem for me when I started out, and I was at a skill wall, and it was bad, so. Okay, tip number 3, do not play with mods. I repeat, don't play with mods if you are starting out and are under 100,000. If you are I know it might seem really cool to look at that leaderboard and be like, oh wow, this guy beat this song with hidden double time hard rock and flashlight, and I could probably get on the leaderboards if I did a hidden double time in HR play. Don't do it. Because playing with mods isn't building your base Osu skill, and if you're playing with mods, you're probably playing a song that you can beat easily, and it's not that much of a challenge, and you're just trying to get on this leaderboard. That's not... You gotta look at the big picture. If you want to get fast, if you want to improve quickly, then you gotta play no mod, and you gotta play songs that are hard for you on no mod. So that's important. A little side note, this tip is also thrown completely out the window once you're about 25k. Then you should start to branch into hard rock or double time or whatever. But up until that point, play almost exclusively no mod. Trust me, it'll help you out in the long run. Okay, tip number 4. This is something that I found out while I was at a skill wall. I found that it helped to take all of the maps that were around my difficulty range and create these collections for unbeaten maps, and then just play and beat all of them up until the point where I couldn't beat anymore. As of now, I've got a bit of a backlog at unbeaten maps, but I think my star range-ish is around 5.5. At this point, I will start to not be able to pass some of them, some of these maps. And if you do it systematically, you'll find exactly what you're weak at. And then, in turn, you'll be able to practice that type of thing, and, you get a good idea of where your star range is. So, as a tip for breaking skill walls, make an unbeaten maps collection at your star range, which is whatever you can get 88-ish% on or higher, or passing, that's whatever. But just make sure you have that and just beat all of the unbeaten maps in your skill range. You'd be surprised at some of the lower star maps that you can't beat. Tip 5, coming off that tip, make sure you spend most of your time playing songs that are harder for you to play. If you are a 6-digit or high 5-digit player, you should not be spending all of your time trying to PP farm. What you should do, though, is from these unbeaten maps collections, if you play a map and you get 96% and miss once, right? Maybe retry that map one more time or 2 times. If you still don't FC it, put it into a different collection called FCable. And then, when you want to actually go for PP, play random songs in this category. However, do not retry one map over and over again. Play one. If you don't FC, move on to the next one. If you don't FC, move on to the next one. And so on and so forth. I have a lot of maps that are super easy in this because I haven't been playing the easier ones, but you know what I mean. So that's another thing. Make an FCable collection and put the maps that you don't immediately, put the maps that you don't sight read but are really close to having sight read in there, and you'll find that you can FC a lot of them really quickly because you're super consistent because you haven't retried. Okay, tip number 6. I'm going to assume that you're a 5-digit player at this point, because following the previous tips, you should be 5 digits in a moderately quick amount of time. So now that you're 5 digits, find out what you suck at and train that. If you suck at speed, you should download these maps, the stream practice maps. Start out with the lowest BPM and train your stamina. These long stream practice maps are especially effective because they are just 2 minutes straight of one stream. You'll be surprised at how tired you get at really low BPMs. If you're slow with streaming, do this. If you're slow burst speed, do this. If you slow single tap speed, do this. It's all the same muscle. Usually bursts are more to do with coordination, but I find that the stronger your streaming muscle is, that the more coordination you end up having anyway. Plus finger control is also really good if you train on these. But anyway, if you are bad at jumps, there's a lot of good jump training maps out there. This map specifically, this is a great one for jump training. There's also all the Aurals maps, but I don't think... Regardless, you could no-fail the Aurals maps, but I don't know, that's up to you. Just make sure that you train what you're bad at. If you figure out where your weaknesses are, say you can't read AR-10, just spend days playing AR-10. Like, figure out what it is you suck at, and then improve that. Okay, tip number 7. If you are a low 5-digit player, you should be using offsets regularly. You gotta learn how to use offsets. If your accuracy, if you're getting unstable rates that are around 100, right? But aren't getting like 99 accuracy plays on OD8 and 9 songs, you should be using some offsets. Specifically, I mean, you should put a local offset on, but universal offset works also. But I found that using a universal offset and local offsets has made my accuracy go ridiculously high. So just make sure that you use that so you can get some sick 99 ACK plays, because accuracy is very important. Alright, so that about does it for my tips to get to be 4 digits. I don't have too many tips for this range yet because, still kind of in the middle of it, but I heard that if you're a 4-digit player, a player named Rohulk, you may have heard of him, says that a good way to train accuracy is by doing very, very low approach rates and high overall difficulty on your favorite maps, which I haven't tried yet, but apparently it works pretty well. And also, no failing really, really hard songs. Downloading the Aurals maps. Here, I have a collection for them. These maps, I hear, are also very, very good for training if you're a 4-digit player and you only barely pass. No fail them. Just no fail a lot of really hard maps is really all you can say, so. That about does it. If you like these tips, consider subscribing. If not, that's cool. But regardless, whatever you do, you need to have fun. So if having fun makes you play more than doing the tips that I say, then you should ignore what I just said and do whatever makes you play more. Because in the end, if you play more, it doesn't, what these tips are going to do is maximize the total amount of improvement per play. But if you don't have fun doing that and have more fun doing something else, then you'll play more, and by that you'll improve more than you would if you would play the... Regardless, I'm just rambling on. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you later.